Welcome to Subramani. I'm doing this video literally on behalf of somebody who likes to make sure that the passing of assets is easier than what we have made it out to be. So let me start by saying, first of all, the amount of money that you're going to give your children is going to be insignificant compared to the amount of money that they earn in most of the cases. Some cases, of course, you could be giving a big amount and kids may not be earning so well. But for most middle class people, like including me, what my daughter will earn in a year at some stage of her life will be greater than the amount of money that I'm going to give her, simply because she's got a long runway. Right, so first of all, that amount is not going to be very significant, and they're also going to get it at not a very early age. Maybe if my daughter gets it after 30 years, she will herself be 50 plus and she would have created her own wealth. So this really will not matter too much. One, keep that as the base of all your thoughts of giving money to your children. Second, the next generation, which means people who are now in their 40s, may not be willing to take so much trouble that you took to recover those assets. So somebody leaves a house in Calcutta, the kid is in Bombay, or the house is in India and the kid is in US. They are not going to take too much trouble to come to Bombay, give a power of attorney to somebody, and so that somebody sells. That is not going to happen. Right now I'm seeing one young boy, maybe in his 30s or 40s, trying to sell off assets to which his father has left him. So he goes there, looks at the deal, and he says, okay, 1.5 crores, and they say 1.3. He says, okay, 1.3, deal done, do it. He's not even hesitating. He's got many properties which he has to sell off, and that's what he's doing. He's not going to sit there, negotiate and things like that. So here parents struggle to put together properties and all that, and then kids are not too keen to dispose of as sensibly as you think they should. They just couldn't care, right? Same thing for chunky jewelry. The jewelry which moved from your father-in-law's house to your house, then to your kid's house, it's not going to get sold. They're just going to junk it, right? Of course, they may sell it, but they may sell it at a big loss. The headache of doing all that is something which kids are not going to want to do it, unless you make it very easy for them by making a proper will and making sure that they get access to the will, making sure that the will is properly done and executed. When I'm saying all this, I'm saying this from experience. Here is a person who stays in Mumbai and he's got properties in Bangalore, Coimbatore and Chennai, and he has to give power of attorneys. He finds it difficult even to give a power of attorney. Once upon a time you could do it from home. Now you can't do it from home. You have to go to the stamp authority place where they will take photographs of yours, they'll take your fingerprints, and that's how a power of attorney can be given. It's not going to be very easy, and there's no question of power of attorney if you're dead and gone, right? So making sure that the passing on is going to be easy is an art today, and somebody has to do it as a profession. If you think, oh, I can do it, it's very simple, it's not. If you've got one property, it's different. If you've got jewelry, which doesn't really matter, then it's different. But if you've got jewelry, sit with your children, sort it out, see what they want, see what you want, get rid of the balance, keep it as biscuits, keep it as chain, keep it as coins, but not as chunky jewelry. Broken jewelry, people don't know, unless you say that you pick up all your jewelry, sit with your daughter-in-law and say, oh, this is your favorite, so I'll give this to you, I'll give this to you. Then wait and see if there is a difference. If there is no difference, just decide, put it into small bags and say, this is for her, this is for her, and keep it in your locker. If it is a big amount, you will have to make sure that it is all in the will, assuming that they don't fight over it. Otherwise, it's going to get much messier, right? Other thing is, real estate I've already covered. Other thing is provident fund. If you have changed a few jobs, there is no way how your children will consolidate that provident fund and recover it. They just can't. So if you have not done this, your children will not be able to do it. You may have had your mother as a nominee, which is a very common mistake. When a 32-year-old dies, the suddenly people realize, oh, he got married 2 years ago, but the nominee is his mother who had died 5 years ago, right? So then it's a big mess. So make sure that all your nominations are in place. Wherever you can make somebody joint holder, you make them joint holder and still have a nominee. COVID taught us that people could die in pairs, right? Sounds very morbid, but the truth is husband and wife dying within 10-15 days of each other, need not be simultaneous, also is a mess, because in 15 days you have not even got the death certificate of the person who died first. So you have not done any of the nomination change and things like that. So then if the second person dies, you are in a bigger mess. Suddenly you are in a much bigger mess, right? If you have 20 bank accounts, mutual funds, ULIP, please consolidate. Your kids are not going to do all that work. I think you have to get up, smell the coffee. Make it as simple as possible. Consolidate all your mutual funds, consolidate your bank accounts, make sure that they have, if you have 2 children, then let's say you're Mr. A, so Mr. A, Mrs. A, child 1, Mr. A, Mrs. A, child 2, Mrs. A, Mr. A, child 1, Mrs. A, Mr. A, child 2, right? You need to do all this. If you are not very confident of making your children the joint owners, make them nominees, right? And confidence should come only when you are 80, because if your kid is 40 and does some business, you could lose money, right? So be careful about that. If your child has given some bank guarantee, etc., and is being enforced, your assets could get attached. So be careful. Please go to a lawyer. Don't try to save that money. Don't think you can just make a digital will, leave it there, and things will take care of itself. It won't. A digital will is a nice place to consolidate your assets. You still have to take a printout. You have to still go to a lawyer. You have to sign it. You have to attach a certificate from the doctor saying that you're mentally, physically right to do it, and then you have to have copies of that, and you have to ensure that your children get the copies when they want it. Ideally, sit with your children, see what you want, what A wants, what B wants, what C wants, how you are going to distribute it. Don't assume that your children think that everything has to be equal. You can always tell your son, I spent a lot on your education, so I'm giving more to your sister. You can always tell your daughter, I spent a lot on your education, so therefore I'm going to give it more to my son. You can always tell your son that I'm going to give all the money equally, because legally all your other 2 sisters also are entitled to it. You can tell your daughters that I've spent so much money and I didn't spend anything on my son, so I'm going to give everything to my son. It's your money, it's your choice, you don't have to worry. But whatever decision you take, please talk about it to your children. Make sure that they understand what you're doing, why you're doing, so that tomorrow after you die, they don't say, oh, you were his favorite, therefore he gave you more. Whatever is your logic, right, wrong, I'm not getting into it. Whatever is your logic, do it, write it down, make a will. Make sure that the children have access to the will electronically. It can be made. You can be sure that kids get copies of it. Have a written copy, notarize it. And if you are now say 80 and you think you're not going to add any more properties or reduce any more properties, have it registered. This is the best way to do it. When you're very young, you still need a will. If you're 32, you need a will, just get it notarized. If you're 60, you need a will, get it notarized. If you're 80, get it registered. I hope I have made myself very clear about what is it. And this is not the first time I'm making a video on making a will. But please, for heaven's sake, get things organized. I'm seeing too many messy cases. Thank you. Hope you take care. Bye. Yesterday I saw a movie. Of course, by the time you see this video, it would have been 2 weeks or 3 weeks earlier. The movie had one dialogue which said people have put 25,000 crores in one mutual fund and the mutual fund went bankrupt. I have no clue who writes script for such movies, but I don't think the movie maker even understands what is it to say a mutual fund went bankrupt. Can there be corruption in mutual fund? Yes. Can there be insider trading? Yes. We have seen such cases. It is not that it has never happened. Is it possible that that there is some kind of a consideration for the promoter of the mutual fund to do something and invest the money of the mutual fund? Yes, that is also possible. It has also happened in the past. Does it mean a mutual fund can go bankrupt? The answer is no. It's ridiculous to even think of something like this. A mutual fund is born like this. A big company, a reputed company, goes and tells SEBI, I want to run a mutual fund. Normally, it's a good process by which they will allow them to run the mutual fund. But these days you are seeing that almost everybody who applies, many people are getting the permission to launch a mutual fund. I don't see too many denials. It's not like trying to open a bank. A bank is far more difficult license to get, but a mutual fund license is not so difficult to get. So yes, this person can go and get a mutual fund. Can a person who has not done anything in the financial service industry get a mutual fund license? Extremely unlikely. He should be a bank, he should be an insurance company or something like that, right? Some background in financial services, maybe a research person, maybe he's running a PMS, maybe he's running a consulting, maybe he's a broker, something like that, some track record, and people should look at the track record also. This person goes and forms a asset management company. Now what is the mutual fund? Mutual fund, normally people look at that statement and say, this is my mutual fund. Well, let me just explain. An asset management company is the company which is going to recruit a lot of people to look after your money, to manage your money, right? That is, it's called an asset management company. The asset management company, for giving an example, is like the architect. The architect of your house does not own the house, right? You own the house. You call an architect and say, please design it for me. That's the job of the architect. So what happens is, you as the person giving the money is the real owner. However, it is very difficult to hold shares in everybody's name, right? If you